everybody, it's Stu. So what are we doing today? So what we're doing is we're going to make some dough. It's not just any kind of dough. We are going to make a 48-hour cold fermented dough. So we did Poolish last night, right? And the Poolish is ready. I let it sit out of the fridge at room temperature for about an hour. And we're going to add flour to it and make our pizza dough. But you can also use that tonight if you wanted to, and you basically make the dough, and that's called a direct method. And we're going to do that probably in another video. We're going to make our dough, and then we're going to put it back in the fridge to ferment for another 24 hours, cold ferment in the fridge. And then we're going to make our pizza, our dough balls tomorrow. All right, so what we have here is the Poolish, which was 300 milliliters of water, 300 grams of 00 flour, 5 grams of dry yeast, and 5 grams of honey. Mix that overnight, and now we're going to add to it. We want to do a 70% hydration dough, which is ideal, and especially if you can do like a high heat in your oven, it's great, and it makes the crust nice and fluffy and soft and crunchy. And we're going to add to it 285 grams of flour, and then we're going to add 15 grams of sea salt. I ordered this nice sea salt from Italy. And then we're going to use some olive oil, a couple tablespoons, and then we're going to use the mixer. I'm going to probably do a video at some point kneading the dough by hand, but this is just really convenient and really easy to use. And I know not everyone has one, but it's a great investment if you're going to be making pizza a lot. We're going to start by adding the Poolish into our mixer. Oh man, that is nice. Oh, that looks really good. It's very hard to mess this up, but one thing we have to do is we have to measure out the flour. Figure we do that together. Once again, I just place my bowl on the scale, and by pressing the power on, I zero it out. So we're negating the weight of the bowl so you can take your accurate measurement. And so we're going to do about 285 grams. It doesn't have to be perfect, but we want to try to get it as close to the right hydration as possible. All right, so we're going to start on the lowest setting. And we're going to slowly start adding our 00 flour, I should mention. All right, so I'm just slowly adding the flour until it's all gone. It's good to keep your handy spatula with you so you can sort of help it a little bit. You might have to scrape the side of the bowl. And then in the meantime, while that's cooking, we're going to zero out the scale again. And then we have to measure our salt. So we are going to zero out the scale. We're going to measure our 15 grams of sea salt. All right, so we're going to put our salt very slowly. And then we are going to add one tablespoon, of olive oil. I'm just going to turn up the mixer just a tiny bit. Now the oil is definitely going to loosen it up a little bit. And the last ingredient, of course, is the water. And very important, we're going to add the water very slowly, a little bit at a time. So I'm going to do that with a spoon, just to make sure we don't add it too quickly. And so what happened here is part of the dough got separated. So I'm going to lower back the speed. Really don't want to go back down in speed too often, but I just want to integrate this piece of dough that sort of broke off. So it's starting to dry out a little bit, and it looks like it's starting to attach. Actually, I'm going to speed it up first. Let's see. I'm going to add some water. What you want to do is when you add water, you want to wait till the water is absorbed before you add more. You can tell when it's starting to get absorbed is because the dough will get a little stickier, and you'll see it'll start to sort of slow down a little bit. So now I'm just on 2, still a low setting. We'll go up in speed a little bit. We'll add more water. We'll speed it up a little bit. Oops, I think I added the water a little bit too fast there. So you have to be careful with that. And it's really crucial to put the water in just at the right speed. It really affects how the dough is handled in the mixer. Almost done. All right. Almost done. And you have to also be careful of over kneading the dough, which is tricky to do with the mixer as well. Okay, so the dough looks like it's done. So what we're going to do is we are going to take it out of the bowl. All right, we're gonna put a little olive oil on our hands and on the counter. And so now what we want to do is we want to just make a ball. Okay, put a little bit more olive oil on our hands. Okay, and we just want to fold the dough gently, but we want to do it so we can smooth it out. You don't want to do this too many times, but just enough that you will see it starts to smooth out. And basically what I'm doing is I'm just lifting with two hands, right, to the bottom, and I'm making a crease here, right? And then you're basically folding it. And when you fold the dough like that, then you're just flipping it over a little bit. So basically helps the dough sort of fold underneath. And yeah, that's not bad. Okay, you don't want to do it too much. If you're doing it too much, you might see the dough like start to crack or break apart on top. But if you do, just stop, just leave it alone, let it rest, and then you can put some oil on top, and then after a little bit of waiting, the gluten structure will start to build again. It has a good amount of oil, but I'm just going to put a little bit more on top so it doesn't stick. Okay. All right, so just cover gently. All right, and we're just going to leave this for about 20 minutes at room temperature. It's been about 25 minutes or so. And I don't know if you can tell, but the dough has definitely increased in size, maybe about an inch or so. So it's looking really good. So now that all that's left to do now is I'm gonna pull off the cover. I'm glad I added that little bit of extra oil there because that didn't allow the plastic to stick too much. And now what we're gonna do is we're just gonna form a nice ball, and we're gonna put it back in this bowl. I'm sorry, and just gonna a little bit of oil here. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to. Oh, yeah, that's nice. Okay. Oh, it's gotten really soft. Hey, welcome back, everyone. It's Stu here. So we had yesterday, we had made um, our double fermented dough ball using the Poolish from the night before, kept it in the fridge overnight. Now I just took it out. It's been out for about an hour. You can see it got, I would say, probably almost doubled in size, not quite doubled. We have our scale here to measure out. I usually do 250 grams each dough ball. And then we have our proofing boxes. And I'm going to include links below just in case you find it helpful. Maybe you like some of these products, and I can recommend everything I use. I've been using it for a little while now. All right, so let's get started. Gonna put a little flour down on the counter. All right, and what we want to do is we want to keep, this is the top that's in the bowl, right? This is going to be the bottom, and we want to keep it that way to preserve the gluten structure. We don't want to mix it up. And the bottom is where it's going to be all airy, and we want to keep that on top. And we're going to fold everything under that airy part. That looks really good. Okay, so some people can just do this by eye. I definitely can't do it by eye. I need to use the scale. Once again, what I like about this scale is it's flat, just a flat surface. There's no moving parts here, no spring. It's not spring loaded, so you can easily clean it when you get it dirty. Now, what we want to do is we want to just like cut this into strips. And so it's okay if you like break it into pieces. Just make sure you keep the bottom on the bottom. All right, perfect. 250 on the dot. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the smaller piece. I'm just going to put it underneath. Right here's still the bottom part of the dough that was in the bowl. Sorry. And now we're just going to fold. Right, I'm keeping this part on top. We're just folding it inward. All right, nice and easy. All right, then what we're going to do is, once it's nice and mixed, we're going to pinch it like this. I'm just basically using my thumb just to pinch it and twirl, right? And then that's it. So then we're going to add some flour at the bottom of our dough proofing box so it doesn't stick. All right, and we're just going to place that right there like that. And if you're making Neapolitan pizza, going a little bit smaller is going to be great. It's not going to be bad. Going a little bit too big, it might be a little bit too large for a Neapolitan pizza, and especially if you're using a Neapolitan style oven like the oven that I'm using, then you definitely would rather go smaller than larger. There it goes, and then you're going to keep it like I'd say about like 2 to 3 finger lengths apart. You could even stagger it like this to give it a little bit more space. All right, now this is just going to stay at room temperature for about an hour. Ideally maybe a little bit more than an hour. Depends on how humid and hot it is where you are living and what the season is. And then you could even maybe, if you're not ready to make the pizza right away, you put it in the fridge and then take it out when you're ready and then let it come back to room temperature again. Hey folks, all right, we're gonna make a pizza and then we're gonna fire up our solo pie oven. All right, let's see how our dough is doing. All right, not too bad. I'm going to use some semolina flour. Um, Actually, I got that from Vito. It's just, I don't know, just gives like a nice brownness, crispiness to the crust. All right, so I'm going to put some flour down. Put a little bit of flour on the spatula. Scoop it. Oop. All right. Ah, it's very puffy. Okay, so we're just gonna flip it a little bit in the flour so it removes the stickiness. All right, so what we're going to do is it's going to push out the air towards the crust. Okay, now I'm just going to do this method where you basically gently fold your fingers under the dough and it kind of spreads it. All right, so first thing we're going to do is we're going to put the sauce, and of course I use San Marzano tomato sauce, and I just crush it myself. I buy the whole tomatoes and then crush it. And you can add some salt to it to give it a little bit of flavor. And I'm just going to put some fresh Parmesan down. All right. Then what I like to do is put a little bit of basil on the bottom, and this way it doesn't burn. But what I also like to do is put a little bit of basil on top, but fresh after it comes out of the oven or right before it's about to come out. All right, so we're gonna do a margarita pie. All right, so I like to chop up the fresh mozzarella. And I'm just using store-bought fresh mozzarella. I definitely want to learn to make my own mozzarella at some point. All right, a little fresh olive oil on top. All right, so let's get the peel. A little bit of flour on top, right? I'm gonna do one motion. All right, so even though the pizza, you see, it wasn't really large enough, but once you get it on the peel, you can stretch it out a little bit more. All right, and now we're ready to go to the oven. All right, guys, let's 1, 2, 3, boom. As we can see, I did burn this side of the crust, but that's okay. 10 more seconds. All right, check that out. All right, so we're gonna let that rest. All right, guys, we just finished cooking our 48-hour cold fermented dough. And let's see if we can pass the soft and crunchy test. Nice. Okay, now of course, most importantly, we gotta do a taste test. Let's put a little fresh basil. You know I like to do that. All right, a little olive oil. All right, guys, not too bad. Look at that crust right there. That's not bad at all. I like it a little bit puffier, but you know what? I'll take it. That's not too bad. All right, now the taste test. Not bad. A little bit of a char underneath, but it's okay. I'll take it. Delicious. I'll see you guys next time.